Chrissy. Nice to meet you. I'm presenting this evening on some marketing topics for y'all. I work with Cindy. I've actually worked with her at a few different companies over the last, I think, 10 years or so. And am an avid piezo wave cheerleader and user as well. So just a couple quick disclaimers before we get started. Marketing is much like veterinary medicine. There is a broad scope of specialties that fall under the marketing umbrella. So my particular area of specialty really lies in business to business marketing. So I know some of you do market and need to work with other veterinarians, and some of you need to work directly with pet owners. So we'll try to touch on both things, but to full transparency, my background really is business to business. So I will kind of come from that perspective. And Cindy, did you have any quick housekeeping items on your side that you wanted to bring up before we get started?
Just that we're always looking for help with these, so we still have a bunch open. So if anybody's interested in moderating and helping us out along the year as we keep going, please reach out, because it's the best way I know for us to all communicate and get to talk to each other. And the other thing as we go, just to make sure everybody is, on board with this, is, Chrissy's going to give us a bunch of ideas, and then hopefully we can discuss and ask questions and get some grand ideas. It does look, Chrissy, like we have 1 or 2 canines, but we have quite a few equine in here, which is interesting to me because equine.
Aren't you all too busy? What are you equine people doing on this call? How did you even make the time to get on the call?
Right.
Y'all are crazy. So yeah, obviously you guys would much rather hear from your peers about how they're using the equipment and kind of their different approaches and maybe the different modalities that they may use for different treatments. So if you do want to share your stories, I know that Cindy really appreciates it, and I believe that the community also gets a lot out of it. So reach out to Cindy if you're interested, in sharing something that's exciting to you guys. So I will go ahead and jump right in for this evening. I'm going to kind of hit on 3 high-level areas. I will spend more time on some than others. We're going to talk about marketing trends from 2023. So what's hot, what's not, where should you be spending your time? Metrics, there is a lot of misinformation about what metrics are important to look at and measure. So we'll talk about what is really important and what makes us feel good but isn't important. And then maximizing your effort. So a lot of clients that we work with in the vet space are either on a lean team, a lean budget, or just understaffed. So I am kind of going to try to give you guys some tips on ways that you can leverage a little bit of work and get a ton of mileage out of it. So less time on your side, but more effort. So those are kind of high level things. Next is meet Remedy Bloom. So Remedy Bloom is my marketing agency that I run with my business partner, Christy. She is, if you've seen us at a trade show, and a few of you may have, she's the tall one and I am the short one. So our names confuse everybody because they're so similar. Cindy just calls us K and C, but we answer to anything truthfully. So we are a full service marketing agency. We specialize in helping business to business clients, specifically in the veterinary space. Our clients encompass manufacturers or distributors like Elevation to veterinarians who market and sell their own products and services. So we have a bit of a range of clients that we work with. Our approach is much, I think, similar to a lot of Elevation's clients. And one of the reasons that I just am such a fan of the community here is that There really is not a one size fits all approach. So marketing is like rehabilitation. There are multimodal approaches. There are some animals that are going to respond to certain things and others aren't, right? It is science and art mixed together always. And, we really believe that in terms of marketing, really try to formulate a very tailored approach for our clients. Christy, the tall one, did make call because we were just discussing she's on pickup drop off right now. She lives in San Diego. She's been in the vet med space, but came from the startup tech world. Her background is pretty heavily in ultrasound sales, training, and telemedicine. For our business, she really is, we kind of joke, she's like the dry, really unfun one. She does project management and automation and just really boring stuff that nobody wants to hear about. Me, on the other hand, I live in Puerto Rico currently, planning to relocate, fingers crossed, to Kentucky at some point this year. And I've been in vet med for a little over 13 years, but have a prior history. I worked in small animal vet practice through high school for quite a few years. So I've got some clinical experience under my belt. Also ran a teeny tiny little equine therapy business in Puerto Rico with another equine therapist, focusing on horses at the racetrack in Puerto Rico. For Remedy Bloom, I am definitely on the creative side of the house. So I kind of anything that needs to look pretty or will be customer facing tends to kind of be my area. I, as mentioned, worked in vet med for the last 13 years. I've worked for companies like Sound. I've worked for quite a few of the laser companies. So I have a pretty good understanding of the rehab space, as well as the different modalities that you guys work with. Jumping right in. So marketing trends in 2023. I mean, we could spend all night talking about trends, but I really tried to sift off the ones that I felt would be most relevant to you guys and helping you determine where to focus your efforts and money if you choose to spend money on that. So short form video is king. It is top rated across the board. Video is high producing, high ROI. Channels that leverage short form video are really kind of dominating the social channel. So TikTok, Instagram Reels, and YouTube Shorts are kind of those top 3 areas. So all video based. For search engine optimization, super boring topic, but it is a necessary evil for most businesses, especially if people need to find you. You need to have good SEO. The fastest way to really improve your SEO rankings is to blog. So blogging still sits at the top of that and has remained there for a number of years. And then third, this should be no surprise to you guys, but word of mouth, like that is tried and true and has been around, and I do not see it going away. 58% of consumers say that they have recommended a company that they trust to friends or family. I know all of my peers certainly get recommendations for their veterinarians through friends. So word of mouth, making sure that you're taking really good care of your customers is going to be kind of the first thing there. Any questions from anybody before I jump on to the next slide? Okay, cool. And just one other marketing channel that is high performing that I didn't mention because I feel like most practices are already doing a pretty good job of this is email marketing. So if you are doing email marketing, you should definitely continue to do that, especially if you have engaged customers. So that is definitely a channel if you're already doing, you want to keep doing. Let's see here. So sorry, I'm really some fun issues with my slides here. Okay. So metrics, what matters? What really matters at the end of the day is how many new clients you're getting, right? If we don't have new clients, we don't have revenue coming in to keep the lights on and keep our staff paid. So that's the number one. If our efforts are not generating new clients for us, then we need to take a hard look at them. Number two is really looking at the lead source for your new clients. So where did they come from? Making sure that either that's being asked on your intake form or at some point during the process, and that data is being captured somewhere in a digital format. Super important. The other piece of that is taking a look at the lead source for your favorite clients, right? Because at the end of the day, I think most of the veterinary practices that we work with are pretty busy, and the challenges aren't necessarily getting enough business. But I think everybody can agree that we would all like more of our favorite clients, right? The easy ones, the ones that show up on time, they're easy to work with. So take a look at where those are coming from too. And that's something that you want to kind of keep an eye on twice a year. Take a look at that. And that's a really good indicator of where you should be spending your efforts, because those efforts are bringing you the right kind of clients. Number three is website traffic. It's another like very boring one, but if we're not seeing trends of increases on, page views, and we're seeing really terrible time on pages, like just seconds and things like that, then we want to make some adjustments. And we'll talk a little bit further about some tweaks and some important things when it comes to your website. And then very, very important is looking at how the traffic is finding you. How are people getting to your website? Are they coming through Facebook? Are they coming through TikTok? Are they coming through Instagram? Are they coming through a yellow pages ad? Whatever places you are spending effort and energy, you want to be able to track those back and see if they are in fact driving website traffic. That will be, for most people, the first stop of a client becoming, or a prospective client becoming a client. They're going to hit your website up and at minimum looking for a phone number. And then fourth is social media engagement. So engagements, not number of followers and things like that. Like, we're really looking at comments. So people that are actually engaging with your content, taking a moment to leave a comment or interact. That is kind of the goal that we're looking for in terms of social media engagement. And we'll talk a little bit on the next slide about why some of those other pieces or metrics don't really matter. Anybody have questions on metrics that we do want to keep an eye on? Guys are so easy. Next, so vanity metrics. So I put a mirror here. This is the stuff that makes us feel really good, but at the end of the day, it just does not matter. So those are things like your follower count. We want to look at quality over quantity. So quality is always going to trump quantity. So we're looking at engagement and conversions there. Likes and shares, those are, they don't equal conversion. And if you think about how you engage with social media, you're probably quickly liking things as you scroll through, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you took a moment and really engaged with that content. So just keep that in mind. They're nice metrics, but they don't really get us more business at the end of the day. Impression and reach, that's something that a lot of the social platforms will use, because it's a really big number that they can share with you that makes you feel good and makes you feel like your money is being well spent if you're doing ads or things like that. So again, what an impression means really is just that it showed up on my screen. It during my feed at some point during my time on that particular app. I mean, I scroll through, I might scroll through 6 or 10 things in a matter of seconds. So totally useless metric. And then viral. We have had clients that really want us to help them get viral. And when we ask them about why they want to be viral, they don't really have a good answer. There just isn't a good answer. It feels good, but it doesn't at the end of the day. If people in not your geographic location that can actually become clients of yours are engaging with your content, that's lovely and that's great and it makes us feel good. But if we're looking at, did it bring us a new customer? that's not a metric that we're going to hold any weight into. Next one, so search engine optimization and word of mouth. So Google is kind of king at this point. Everybody is still Googling for the most part, aside from using some AI tools. So showing up in your local search results is really going to improve your hospital's visibility, your credibility, and your engagement with your potential clients, whether those are other veterinarians or pet owners. So first thing they're going to see is your website, right? That's the front of your store. That's going to be their first interaction. Your website should be mobile friendly. And when I say mobile friendly, that doesn't mean that you need to pinch pages and shrink them down or expand them to make it look good or scroll through or you can't find buttons. It means that it looks good and clean and functions really well on a mobile phone. 65% of all web traffic now is mobile. So if they're going to your site on their phone and it's not a good experience, they're just going to leave and move on. And maybe they come back, maybe they don't. So top thing you want to make sure. And then your site should be updated. If your website is more than 3 years old, you need to refresh it. Like trends change, colors change, photography styles change, and you want to make sure that your website is always going to be the best representation and the most current representation of you. Like it shouldn't have a picture of you from 20 years ago. It should have a recent picture and updated team members and all of those things. So if your site hasn't been touched in 3 years or more, like we got to get that on the calendar this year for you. Blogging, that is, we talked about that. It's the number one low-hanging fruit for search engine optimization. A lot of times when we bring this up to clients, I feel like a really heavy sigh and kind of an eye roll, and I get the feeling that it's like, well, that's great. Like I don't have time. I don't have time to write blogs. I can't, like, lovely, but it's never going to happen. Completion over perfection. Okay. So completion over perfection. You have to make sure you get out of your own way and that you're not always striving for perfection. Yes, things should be show ready. You should feel proud of the work that you put out into the world, but having it out into the world rather than sitting in a folder on your desk or your desktop is going to be much better. So the recommended format for blogs is no more than 1,000 words, right? No more than 1,000 words, but really like a couple hundred or 350 words on any topic that is interesting and resonates with your pet parents or the veterinarians that refer pets to you makes a great blog topic. And you don't have to spend a lot of time with it. We're going to talk in a couple slides later how we can really leverage some short form video to use some blogging and get some extra mileage out of it. So you can still get that SEO without the time suck of having to sit down and draft out a blog. And then we'll also talk about like some cheats, some easy ways you can get started by leaning into AI and some other tools that can help you generate ideas, rough drafts, outlines, and things like that. So we'll cover that down the road. And then Google My Business. That is super, super important. And I find it's really highly overlooked. It's free, it's low-hanging fruit, and it's the first thing that pops up on the right-hand side of the search in your local area. So without paying organically, and I'm not sure if you guys have searched things recently, but I will tell you that I've been paying attention to how I engage with those searches. And that is always the first thing that I click on is the Google My Business pages. And then from there, I go to the website. So there's a lot of weight in this free service. So we will talk about a couple low hanging fruit ways you can optimize your profile and leverage that. Next slide. So Google My Business. We marketing nerds will often refer to it as GMB, Google My Business. So some tips. Just quick, let's see. I think everybody has cameras off. How many of you guys have a Google My Business profile? currently? Okay,
Do we?
so we got,
Do we?
well, I will check for you. Low hanging fruit. So
I'm pretty sure I do, but I'm not primarily in charge of it anymore. So
yeah, and if you are in a situation where like maybe you've been acquired by a corporation, it could get a little fuzzy with a Google My Business profile, but definitely make sure you've got one. And then I've got some tips just to optimize it down the road. So making sure that your listing is verified and claimed and not just sitting out there in the world with the information. That would be important. Making sure that, you know, all of the details, including like your business name, the address, phone number, your hours, including holidays. Make sure all of those are completed and filled out. The next thing is using high quality images. So this is a great way to showcase what you do and your practice. So things like always very helpful to have a picture of the outside of your practice because oftentimes they're going to be physically visiting it. So if they've got like a physical reminder of what it looks like, make things easier for them. The waiting room, things that will kind of show them what the vibe of your practice is like, working with pets, any of those things. And again, completion over perfection, right? You know, be cognizant when you're taking pictures, try to do your best work, but don't let an imperfection keep you from posting it. People really appreciate realness and authenticity these days. Everything is so over polished. So that's kind of my tip to you, vets that have a really hard time letting go sometimes. Um, and encouraging reviews. Like I know reviews can be the bane of our existence. Sometimes we don't care about them. Sometimes we don't look. It is important. You should be asking clients, especially the ones that are great clients, to leave reviews for you. I would encourage them to go to Google reviews. That's kind of the top source, but anywhere they're willing to leave a review is always welcome. And you can use those reviews, you can remove names, but you can also take those reviews and use them for social media and share them across platforms and use them on your website when you get nice compliments. And when you're having a shitty day, go back and read the good ones because it makes you feel better, you know? And the bad ones, you know what? We don't need to give oxygen to them. If they are truly, you know, if first of all, if it's somebody that you don't remember off the top of your head and you have to go on like a hunting expedition to figure out who this particular person is, stop, don't do it, walk away. You can always just use a really polite party line reply that is like, Mrs. or Mr. So-and-so, we are so sorry to hear that you did not have a great experience. We would love to talk to you and figure out how we can make this better. And you can leave your phone number and they'll never call because they're trolls and they don't want to talk to you. They just want to leave a bad review and feel better and move on. So that will kind of mitigate that. And then obviously having good reviews, you know, those will sift to the top. So encouraging them, you can do things like have QR codes and the little clear plastic things on your counter, have it on your website, talk about it, whatever works for your practice, different strokes for different folks. But it is important to start finding ways to ask for those reviews and making it easy for your pet parents and or referring practices to leave them for you. And then posting updates. So if we're doing social media and we've got a calendar or we don't, and we're making random posts to Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and or other platforms, like throw Google Business into that list and make sure that those social updates that are happening happen on your Google My Business page, because that keeps fresh, relevant content and will keep you up at the top of the search, especially if you are in an area where there might be other practices with broad search terms like veterinarian in Chicago or things like that. So those are just a couple tips for you. And then video. So like video is king. It is high performing, high return on investment, low output, low energy. So if I was going to recommend a lean team or somebody that was short on time and or budget, I would be like, video, video, video. That's what we're doing. Day in the life of stuff. Get a tripod, set your iPod up when you're working with patients, put it on the ground. Day in the life of stuff is awesome and makes great content, and talking through some of the treatments and maybe why you're doing them with a certain patient. Turn those into video clips, and then that one video clip, right? Now we can use it on our Google My Business profile. So we've got some updated, fresh content there. We can post it on Facebook as a story or a reel. We can post it on Instagram. We can post it on TikTok. We can upload it to YouTube. And from YouTube, we can then embed it into a blog post. So now you've got some search engine optimization on your blog as well. And it's really easy to use free transcribing tools or some AI tools to transcribe your videos. Take the transcription, pop it into ChatGPT or another AI tool, and use that to describe your video or write a blog post. And at least that will give you a foundation to work from. I never recommend just blindly using anything from any of these AI tools. I think it's a really nice starting point, but I think then you need to go back through and you need to make it in your own voice. You need to edit it, take out all of the unnecessary words that it loves to stick in there, and probably several emojis. But it gives you, it's going to save you a bunch of time and help you get this across the finish line. And then you've spent a few minutes on one video, passed it, if you're passing it off to a practice manager or a tech in your practice that might kind of own social, or if you're the person doing it, then you've got that one video, you can post it in a bunch of different places pretty easily and quickly, and then you're done. And you'll have so much leverage and mileage out of that post. There is a great tip. There's a HubSpot free AI tool called ChatSpot. I will link it. I actually put together a page of resources for you guys. I am obsessed with it. You can pop in a YouTube link and it'll summarize the whole YouTube video for you. So that's another way just to save time, and then use those summaries for social media, blog, Google My Business, Facebook, all of those things. So you can save a bunch of time that way. And I just picked a couple of examples from Wizard of Paws, Dr. Taraka. She's generally just so kind and generous in letting us use her as an example. So, and she does a great job with social media. So I popped on her Facebook page and I just wanted to give you guys some examples. So I went like 3 videos in on her page, and I could see here it's like a 7-second video of a dog in an underwater treadmill with a 2-sentence description. She got 82 reactions, 7 comments, 5 shares, and 3,000 views on one 7-second video that I feel fairly certain didn't take her a bunch of time. Now, on the other hand, I found a funny, like a really funny, super funny, humorous meme post that was shared on her page. Not as easy to come up with necessarily. It's just, it does take time to find them, whatever, load them up. So not as quick. Did get 26 reactions, didn't get any comments, and it got 3 shares. And then I popped into her videos just to take another look, and you can see that her videos far outperform any other type of post that she has on her page. And again, like, these are quick 7-second snapshots of a day in the life of, and I can tell you as a pet owner, I love it. I will eat that up all day. Like, I love it. I love it. I love it. And the rest of the world likes to see that stuff, so share it, show people the behind the scenes stuff. It's always important to be really cognizant of respecting people's identities, making sure that you are getting photo releases from them. Nobody wants to, use a dog and have the pet owner come back screaming, like always make sure, maybe even as a lot of people as part of their intake process will have it as a question on their intake forms. But if you are going to be using people's pets, not your own pets, and I would recommend trying as frequently as possible to not get people in your videos. Keep it focused on animals. But just do make sure that you cover your bases and you are getting the correct permissions to use those. And then any questions?
So when we're talking videos and customers and the release forms obviously are important. I think there's also a little bit of a trick in doing this, that you can keep the animals slightly anonymized, especially in the equine world, by taking them from the back or not
A
showing
tight
the white
angle.
markings, or just the forelimb, or some of those, because it does get a little
It
more.
can be tedious sometimes tracking down some of those permissions for sure. So if you want to work around, then just take really tight shots, like Cindy was saying.
Yeah.
Questions? Alrighty, so a few of my favorite apps that have been game changers for Remedy Bloom. I mean, we're a team of two, so we do have to be incredibly efficient with our time. Canva is one of my favorites. If you guys aren't using it, I think the professional version is maybe $12 or $13 a month. It's amazing. They have so many beautiful templates that you can have a really rudimentary skill set and ability in graphic design and make anything look great. And they will easily resize things for social media. So I find that to be a huge time saver and a really inexpensive spend. They also have printing. I've used their printing services. Their printing is really nice. It's fast and it's very reasonable. So if you do need quick, I would call them like quick and dirty jobs, Canva's a great resource for that as well. Blog. So HubSpot is another resource for us that we love. HubSpot has a free version that you can write blogs on. You can use for email marketing if you're not using something like a MailChimp or a Constant Contact. They do have that tool available. They also have the ability to easily and quickly create landing pages, which for people that maybe are DIYers and by trade are rehab specialists or veterinarians and maybe not marketers, you can, again, it's similar to Canva. You can make really nice stuff pretty easily without having to maybe go into your main WordPress website if that's controlled by another person. Tons of great free resources there. The other thing that's really nice about HubSpot is even if you don't use any of the free stuff that comes with it, it gives you some tracking code and some really easy instructions. Your web designer can pop the tracking code in your website and you can start getting all of the like Google Analytic type metrics in a really nice, easy to read, easy to understand dashboard in your HubSpot. So you can start seeing things like your social media leads, how traffic is being impacted by those efforts. So that's a nice way, like a free, easy way to look at your website metrics. So that's one that we love. The other one, Hootsuite, is another app that we absolutely love. Hootsuite allows you to manage multiple social media channels and or accounts at one time. So you can create one post and then parse it out to any platform one time. And I think it's not super cheap, but it is a huge time saver. I think it's around $130 a month. But I mean, you can't create more time at the end of the day. So time is of the utmost value. And if you spend $130 and you can spend 4 minutes on one social media post and get it to 6 or 8 or 5 places, I say that's a win. So Hootsuite, definitely worth looking at. And then short form video, CapCut. It is a free app. You can have it right on your iPhone. So easy to use. There's a million templates. If you are a TikTok user, as you scroll through, if you find templates, like I use this all the time, like fun CapCut templates, it will literally just open the template up in the app and you just pull your video in and it takes like 4 seconds and you've got like a really funny or great video that you can now, again, post to TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, etc. And it's free, so highly, highly recommend. It's way better, way more robust than using like the iMovie app on your phone. So definitely one to check out. And then I didn't add the logo, but I did mention it earlier and I will provide links, but the ChatSpot AI tool. So that is HubSpot's version of AI. I love it. It's free. Anybody can use it. You can do things like generate blog posts, outlines, ideas, summarize YouTube videos. You can research your competitors, which is also kind of fun if you want to see like what keywords they might be paying for in organic search. And there's just a ton of things that you can do for free and really easily in that app. So I will include the link for that for you guys to check out. And that really kind of concludes my overview. I did pop in the chat kind of earlier on a link to a resources page that I put together for you guys that has a link to Canva, links to HubSpot, Hootsuite, CapCut. It's got a bunch of other stuff. There's a website, a free website grader tool that's pretty awesome. You pop in your URL and it will give you a whole report, rank your website and tell you like if there are areas that need improvement, it will tell you exactly how to fix them. So highly recommend checking that out. And that's about it. I do kind of hover around the user forum. So if you guys ever do have questions, like definitely feel free to pop on there. I'm always happy to answer questions or share how I marketed my piezo wave, you know, and for my equine therapy practice and kind of what things were helpful for me. So that is that. Do you guys have any questions or specific areas that you're struggling with that I maybe didn't touch on or questions?
I always have a question, you know that. I see, I think we have, whether it's equine or sports medicine rehab, such a targeted group, and we get caught up in quantity over quality and getting our message to the clientele that are going to use us. Suggestions on that? Because that's a hard one when you're lean.
Yeah, it is a hard one when you're lean. So, I mean, a couple things that I've seen be successful for some other practices that I've worked with are partnering with shelters or doing some community events to get their name out there. I do think that when you have the opportunity you can never replace in-person connection building. So I do think that it is important when you have those opportunities. I also think looking at local groups and like I would look at smaller niche things. Like if I lived in, say, Orlando, Florida, I might like check out the Golden Retriever Club, you know, and I might ask if the Golden Retriever Club has banner ads available on their website or any advertising opportunities. They probably won't. They'll be so shocked that anybody's asking them. They'll put your logo on their website for free. But things like that. So looking at those kind of watering holes, again, you don't need to reach 1 million pet owners. You need to reach the right pet owners. So working backwards to where those pet owners are spending their time, or if it's referral practices, you know, that is kind of some in-person building that just does take some time. But certainly with those folks, I find that case studies of really challenging or frequent pathologies that they might come across that they can't solve, those are really helpful and they do appreciate those either in email format or if they follow you on social, sharing kind of quick stories like that. But I think, like Cindy said, really focusing on a highly targeted area and not getting so caught up in trying to reach the masses and getting creative about where those people spend their time.
Yeah, I mean, with the horse world, I think sometimes you can get good, at least exposure if you hit the right events and do small little marketing blips in the appropriate events for your clientele. I think that's kind of a little bit the place to go. For the dogs, we have a bigger range. We definitely have the sporting and the working dogs, but we have the pets too. But the horse world, a lot of the ones that are going to do a lot of vet work on a regular maintenance level are going to be more your work competition horses. So sometimes that's a helpful place to put your name out there, and set yourself aside from every single person in town, in my opinion.
And if there are local groups, like I know, I definitely spend way too much time hanging out in community horse groups, but like there's the Lexington Equine Community. Like if in your community you find those groups, there are those Facebook groups, like it is helpful to pop in and engage and reply to people's posts and contribute. Like that is another great way to meet them where they're at and start developing some trust and credibility. Obviously, you need to be careful or you'll open up the floodgates for like free veterinary advice, but it is helpful to kind of hang out in some of those spaces for sure.
Awesome. Other questions, ideas, thoughts that can help us?
Challenges, are things that have worked great, things that haven't.
And for Holly, for Dr. Ravenaugh's events, he's getting plenty of attendance. He runs quite successful, whether it's blacksmith or different events on the site. And I think that's another thing that we don't all have the time or energy to do, but it really helps set your name apart.
Yeah. And like doing lots of like kind of client seminars and like farrier seminars, just pulling from all the different areas for the team of the horse, like we did a farrier one this last summer and it was huge. And then we just did a client one last month. So just kind of doing those two and getting our name out there. And, it just takes that one person to be like, oh my gosh, that was such a great event. Let's do it again. And I want to bring a friend, so
yeah,
stuff like that. Yeah.
That's awesome. So it sounds like you guys have had a lot of success in that.
Yeah.
What other kind of marketing tactics are you guys seeing a lot of success from?
We don't. That's why I'm here.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of more for us here. He's always done word to mouth. Like his old school is just kind of, do a good job here. We do a good job at our clinic. We represent and people go out and tell everybody, like, go to Ravenaugh's clinic, go see him. He'll work magic on your horse, but we're finding now it's 2024. People go to websites. Our website's horrible. So we're trying to revamp that.
It's not that horrible.
Oh, it's horrible. It's horrible. It's old. It's outdated. It's past the 3 years. So we're getting ready. We've been doing some, meeting with people on cleaning up the website. And we have a staff person that does like our social media and just trying to get more things out there, like shockwaving a horse. Like people love that stuff. They love to see what we do inside this building, so exposing what we do, like showing them the MRI room, like sometimes they're like, oh my gosh, I've never seen that. So like you said, those little videos, they take nothing really, but they're so huge to some of the people out there of what they can see and what we do in here,
Yeah. So do you guys do TikTok or what social platforms are you?
We don't do anything really. Yeah. We have Facebook. I mean, we do Facebook. We have Facebook and Instagram and we'll put stuff on there. And it's more of like, hey, our doctor's going here, or we're doing this or advertising a seminar, but we don't do a lot of any of that. So that's why it clicked where I was like, oh man, they would love to, like watch the horse get shockwaved, or watch the horse get injections or, some of those simple little things that they just don't know what it details, so.
Yes, definitely. I love that stuff. Like that's all my whole TikTok feed is farriers basically. Hoof trimming.
Yeah. So it's good. So I'm getting some good ideas. That's great.
And some anonymous success stories, I think. I mean, I
Yeah.
know, you know, again, anonymous and all of that crazy stuff, but the horse world is harder than the dog world.
Yeah.
But I mean, everybody knows when I actually in my canine kind of like demo talk, if I have to throw a slide up at the end while we're chatting, it's this like success story that the owner was happy and the dog lived and it made the change in his in you know her life and the dog's life. And if you that kind of thing, even if it's not super, and my problem is I go into the science because I'm a scientist, but even if it's not super scientific, it's the emotions with the animals nowadays.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, totally.
feel good stuff.
Yeah.
So, well, good. Any other questions, you guys? Carrie, you did a recent open house. How did that go? She's muted. She could be driving anywhere too. I know Carrie Balisto did an open house. I sent a few little things from us. But you know, we're also as a company from Elevation, we want to support you guys when we can. Unfortunately, we get hit up and we have to make our plan almost a year ahead of time.
Yeah.
So occasionally I'm too late to grab what you guys need. But keep at it because we're also as a company growing, which means the more we grow, hopefully the bigger our marketing budget gets.
Mhm.
And
So,
don't be afraid to use that forum for whatever randomness you need, even if it's like, hey, does somebody have a photo release or
yeah, the users
whatever.
group, the
Yeah,
Facebook
use the users group, and share things that are working. And definitely like TikTok, look into TikTok. And 2 homework assignments for you guys, checking your Google My Business page. So making sure that you have it, it is up to date, figuring out who has access to making updates and changes. And second, checking your website, making sure that it is mobile friendly. And if it's not and your website needs to be refreshed, then you can also pop on the forum and ask for recommendations. We do websites. We're super happy to talk to you about that. And use that website grader tool. That will give you a bunch of insight. You might find that your website is a lot better than you think it is too. I see that happen a lot. So check those out. I will pop let me just see. I'm going to pop the link to this resources page I made for you guys in chat. And then I will also post it in the forum, but there's like a download here for, I'm trying to chat to everybody.
And Chrissy, I try to minimize stock images. Do you agree with that, or am I just being?
I am a big fan. So if you happen to be revamping your website or needing to revamp your website, I don't love using stock photos. What I really love is having your own photo shoot, hiring a local photographer and using your own images and making sure that you are getting what we call the B-roll images. So stock type images. So isolated pictures of dogs on exam tables, things that you can use throughout your site, but that are really your pets, or like even a lot of times staff just brings in their own pets because that's easiest on like a Saturday. But I think whenever you have the possibility or the opportunity to use your own photos as opposed to stock photos, please, please, please do it. It is worth the investment and it sets your website apart. I look at a lot of veterinary websites and I look at a lot of stock photos and I can tell you like, oh, it's rampant across vet websites. And they all start to look generic, like people that have too much filler, that everybody starts to look the same. So I like authentic and definitely, your own photos whenever possible. It's not always possible. Use stock photos. Stock photos are better than some janky, gritty, low quality iPhone photo for sure. But again, completion over perfection.
Cool.
All right, guys. So I popped that link in the chat. I will pop it in the user forum. check it out. There's a bunch of different resources for you guys. There's like downloads for meeting agendas, links to different apps, all kinds of fun stuff you guys can geek out on over there.
Us
Well-
animal people don't geek out over market.
I know. I keep hoping. Well, I'm always happy to talk about horses. Well, thank you guys for your time. I know it's late for some of you and I appreciate it. I'm always on the user group, so if you have questions, feel free to kick them over to me.
Go, thank you.
Thanks,
All right,
Chrissy.
guys, have a
It
good
was great to
night.
see you guys.
Thank you.
Have a good night, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thanks.